Ha 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 ha. What's good, y'all? This is your boy T Swizzle, who's in the building today. I felt like going on here. I really don't like going live. It's not really my thing, but sometimes I like talking to you guys just to connect with my community and the people that rock with the R&B that I produce and the R&B that I'm also a fan of. I'm just as much as I'm just as much of a fan of R&B as I am somebody who makes it. What's good, Anthony? I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man. So if you're tuning in, I have an interesting question for everybody, and I want to know what everybody thinks about this. Will the world ever get another R&B super group, or even just another R&B superstar like a Usher, another Chris Brown, um, another Bobby Brown, another I'll Be Sure, if you will, another along those lines. In the 80s, you obviously had Michael Jackson. Obviously, Michael Jackson's the king of pop as well, but he also was doing R&B with Off the Wall and everything. But late 80s, we got Bobby Brown, we got I'll Be Sure, we got Keith Sweat. In the 90s, the R&B super groups, that's the time that the groups really started to kick in. So we had Boys to Men, we had Jodeci, we had Shy. Also for the ladies, we had SWV, we had Cut Close. And who else? I know I'm forgetting. Late 90s, we had Jagged Edge, Blackstreet, mid to late 90s. And obviously can't forget Guy. Guy was late 80s, early 90s as well. And early 2000s, we got, the groups like B2K, and I know New Edition made a comeback in the early 2000s as well. I don't know if it was super successful, but they did manage to. They actually came back on Bad Boy. I don't know how many of you guys remember when New Edition came back on Bad Boy. I don't know if y'all remember that, but Tezos one, you said Mission should have been the next superstar. He did not get the push he deserves. I am not. Actually, I think I am somewhat familiar with him. I know that name. I've heard of him before, but yeah, I don't remember the songs, but I remember that name for sure. But I know we're definitely going to see people come and go. There's definitely going to be the random person who drops, an R&B record here and there. But I'm more curious to see, is there ever going to be another R&B group that's big, like a Jodeci, like a Boys to Men, like, that era, a New Edition, a Boys to Men, a Jodeci, a Shy for that matter. Even people, y'all remember Ideal, Ideal was another R&B group that was popping in the 90s. They weren't as big as Jodeci, but they had a couple records that were big. As well, there was a group called Portrait. They weren't as big as the Boys to Men or Jodeci, but Portrait, they had that one song, Here We Go, don't wanna sing the same things. Here we go, don't wanna play the same games. Y'all remember that song, right? I don't know, I don't wanna go through it. I'm a bit old, y'all, so I'm a certified OG as far as my age goes. I'm in my early 40s, y'all. So, but I try to stay fresh. I try to stay fresh to death. I try, I got the Versace, I got the shot leather jacket, I got the watch, you know what I mean? I try to stay, but I'm getting old, y'all. So it is what it is. But I try to stay somewhat young, but it is what it is. I'm happy to get older. I'm happy to get old, but I'm that cool uncle that you see at the barbecue, Yeah. So you said Mission Ratif. He was on Lincoln Heights. He had that song, Excuse Me, and Just a Kiss. Man, see, I'm not even familiar with that. I'm gonna have to check that out. But I know, I just really wonder, are we ever going to see a R&B super group? And then in my head, I'm thinking in my head, I'm trying to find a way to discover some younger dudes who are passionate about R&B and produce it from the ground up and take my chances. So I'm trying to go worldwide, y'all. That's one of the reasons I'm actually going to be living out in the UK for a while. They have a lot of musical talent out in London and out Manchester. There's a lot of street singers, and my wife is from the area. And one thing I discovered about that area is that there's a lot of people singing outside that got a lot of talent. And I'm going to be looking for some people that I can produce and put together, because I truly believe that there can be another R&B super group that really, really dominates, but it needs the right people behind it. It needs the right producers behind it, and people, whoever gets behind it, they have to really, really believe in it. And so I'm going to be searching for some younger cats, you know what I mean? Late teens, early 20s. They can really sing and they got the swag right and everything, you know what I mean? Like, and try to put them together, get them to harmonize, get them to perform in front of people and produce their music like a Jodeci, Boys to Men, but for today's time, you know what I mean? And that's kind of my new vision. My new vision is I want to discover those kind of artists and put them in the studio together and try to see if I can knock out a couple songs from the ground up, like a ground up, production. That's my personal dream. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of work looking for the right vocalists and that type of thing. But my question to everybody out there is, do you even believe something like that is possible in this day and age? And I'll let you know what I think in a bit. But obviously, me talking about starting a group, I do believe it's possible. But how many of you think it will actually happen again? You know what I mean? Yeah, so I do everything. Mr. Tezos one, I write, sing, and produce. I'm like, for me, my idols are like Devontae and like Al B. Sure. They do everything. Like the Devontaes and the Al B. Sures, they produce, they sing, they do everything. So that's kind of what I do. But of course, I'll be looking for other people to collaborate with. I don't want to just do everything by myself, but I can do everything by myself. So if you check out Climax, if you check out Just Wanna Touch, all those records are over 9 million, 14 million plays. So I did get a lot of eyes on me when I was producing and writing and singing all my stuff. Right now, I've just been producing people mostly, but when I write, produce, sing, and do all of it, it got a lot of attention. And honestly, for the way the R&B is going right now, I mean, getting 14 million plays, 9, 10 million plays is very hard to do. And I did that in 2015 and 2016. And I'm really grateful. Humbly, I'm really grateful that was even happened, because I'm just a student of the game. But I do everything, though. I say that humbly speaking, not because I think I'm better than everybody, but it's just because I'm so passionate about R&B. I write, I sing it, I produce it, I do it, I arrange it, I do it all, humbly speaking. I appreciate you, T. And my goal is really to get together with other people that have some of those capabilities. But to be completely honest, my goal, number one, is just to produce it and write it from the ground up. But of course, I would be collaborating with other people. And I actually want to find some young cats that sing and try to get them to write as well, because I want them to get their publishing. I want to teach people the importance of owning your master and being a songwriter on the song is very important. Just don't be a performer. You want to get your songwriting credit, because that's what is going to take care of you for the rest of your life. Anthony Rich, you said you've been here since 2013. I appreciate I appreciate you, bro. Everybody that's kicking it with me in the chat right now, Tezos1, Anthony Rich, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for rocking with me. And I really do. I try to stay humble and just try to be the best I can be. And you know, there's a lot for me to learn, but I've been in the R&B game for a while now, and I've experienced you know, marginal success. Like I have I got a plaque on one of my records. I have some viral records outside of, you know, everybody knows about the Cookie Kawaii Vibe joint. That was my most commercial song. But I also have some viral hits with my song Climax, with my song Just Wanna Touch, with my song Dreams. You know, all those records are 14 million, 9 million, 15, 16 million plays a piece. So I'm very grateful for all you for, you know, checking those records out and sharing them and making them viral. And I'm very appreciative of that. And it made me think that maybe it's about time that I start looking for some other people that can really do it, that are younger than I am, because I'm in a different phase of my career now. I really want to be behind the scenes and really be producing and writing for people as much as possible. Because I'm not trying to be 62 on stage, trying to be like, yeah, girl, let me get that old thing back, baby. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah, babe. I don't want to be 62. No, there ain't nothing wrong with being old and performing, but I don't want to be that old uncle that's just like, oh, yeah, babe. I don't want to be that. No. Hey, but if it got to be like that, if one of these records take off again and I'm 62 on stage, I'll still do it. I'll still rock it. I'll be in that. I'm telling you, I'm going to be in that walker talking about, I got that feeling for the real, babe. Oh, yeah, babe. I'm trying to get with you, babe. No. Yeah, no, I probably would. I'll still rock it if I, you know, I'm in my 40s, so not quite 60s, but maybe I'd still rock it. If I can't find an R&B group to produce, maybe I'll just have to, I'll have to hop back on stage with my bad knees and stuff, but we'll see. Yeah. You said people don't like to split the bag. I know that's the only thing about groups. Groups don't tend to last, but if I can just get one album and really produce that album, I would be happy. You know what I mean? Like if I could just get one, you know, find one group like that, like, you know what I mean? Like the R&B version of, you know, like an R&B version of One Direction, but, you know, for the people though, you know what I mean? Like some R&B, real R&B, Blackstreet type, New Edition type, you know, Jodeci type, but some young, you know, young cats though, you know what I mean? That could really blow and can really sing and can dance. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? I really want to work with people like that from the ground up. So I'm traveling, y'all, and I'm searching the streets for the, you know, anybody like that. Even like a 3-person group, 4-person would be ideal, but 4 people would be ideal for the harmony. You know what I mean? Right. So, you know what I mean? So that's what it is. And I have so many records that I could give to these kind of people and have them sing it for their demographic and for that age, and, you know, really just go in for, you know, a different, you know, generation. You know, I come from, you know, I was born in 1982. So my generation has came and gone now. So my generation's in their early 40s now, you know what I mean? So, but I would love for people who are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 to get the kind of R&B that I make, but have those people that age sing it and perform it. Cause I really think it could connect. I really do think it could connect, you know what I mean? So, and I'm sure there's somebody out there trying to make it happen, but it's very difficult because yeah, the money might not be great right away. The money might be good down the line after you manage to get a couple hit songs. But at first you got to suffer. You got to be broke for a while, and then you get your couple hits, and then you start dividing up that income. you know, you get your couple hits and then you can tour for the rest of your life. If those songs are big enough, if you get some classic records, you can tour for 10, 20 years off those records. Like, if you look at the people like, you know, the New Jack artists, like, you know, the Albie Shures, the Bobby Browns, the Keith Sweat, those guys are still touring and they're in their late 50s. I think Keith Sweat is in his early 60s. Keith Sweat, Mr. Sweat. Oh yeah, Mr. Sweat. Baby, baby, I know. Baby, I love you so, but you don't feel like I do. Keith Sweat, he has the legendary, he has the most legendary, they call it like a nasal voice, but I always thought Keith Sweat had one of the sickest voices for like over the beats that he sings on. But shout out to Keith Sweat. I would love to work with you, OG. If you ever catch one of these live streams, I truly appreciate you. Take your time out to show some love to the OG Keith Sweat, man. One of the best to ever do it. Keith Sweat in some ways I think he's underrated. People don't give him as much love as he should get, in my opinion. Keith Sweat had some of the biggest R&B albums of all time. You know, you want my loving, babe. You got me twisted over you. I know if I got, like, come on. That album was like 7 times platinum. Bet y'all didn't know that. Go on RIAA certified certifications. Look up Keith Sweat. That album with Twisted on it, that album's like 6 or 7 times platinum, bro. That's on sales. That's from CD sales. Imagine trying to do that in this day and age. Guess how many streams it would take to go 6 times platinum on an album? It's insane. It's insane. So that's what it is. But yeah, shout out to Keith Sweat. And another super group that, you know, Keith Sweat made that, Silk. Keith Sweat produced Silk, you know. Let me you up and down till you say stop. Let me play with your body, babe, make you real hot. Let me do all the things you want me to do. Cause tonight, baby, I wanna get freaky with you. That, come on, what y'all know about Silk? Silk, man, they used to play that record when I was 10 years old on the bus. We didn't even know what they were talking about, but it would come into the verse and it had like that first, those verses, they had the little rap verses that were like on some LL Cool J, I Need Love type ish. And it goes, boom, boom, going to whipped cream. Hey, spread it on. Baby, don't be mean. Like, man, that was the joint. I don't care what anybody says. Silk Freak Me. That's one of the best baby making slow jams of all time. Shout out to Silk. Yeah. He said, D said a lot of babies were made during that era, peak R&B era. And yes, that is true. There's people walking the earth right now that have Keith Sweat, Silk, Albie Shore and Bobby Brown and those kind of people to thank for being alive. Literally, they're literally alive because somebody was playing those records and now they're here. So shout out to those guys. I don't think R&B doesn't get enough props when it comes to population. So much R&B is responsible for half of the population being around, and that's every background. That's black and white, because there's a lot of different, and Mexican people, and there's a lot of different races of people that love R&B. Trust me. I used to think back in the day, I didn't think white people like R&B, but the more I would talk to white people, a lot of them love like old school R&B too. And, like Mexican people too, they like, when I was in California, a lot of my Mexican homies like Frankie J and all those people, they're big time R&B, 100%. Like Frankie J put me onto all kinds of different stuff that he was listening to. So different races of people rock with R&B too. And I think people forget how worldwide R&B was. It wasn't not just the black community, but it really, R&B was a music that really spread and touched all barriers of different communities. Even though it is black music, it has the ability to reach out and really reach everybody. And that's the beauty about classic R&B, is that it really has no racial barrier to who it could reach. You know what I mean? I used to run into people that were like full on metalheads that would be big fans of Night and Day, and I'll be sure and Boys to Men. And I'd always be surprised, you know, because I live in an area that's very I guess you could say, back in the day, I was the only black kid in school when I was young. And I know I'm light skinned. I know that I'm very light, but I was the only black kid in school in the early 90s. And I went through a lot of that, kind of a lot of BS early on. But as more military families started to move on, the community where I'm from became more mixed, more diverse. But you would be surprised, a lot of the white people were rocking with all the R&B too. You know what I mean? So it was interesting. But you know, I'm from the Northwest, so Northwest, a lot of people are very integrated. So people are very racial diverse. You know, that's why I'm probably mixed, because my parents are. I'm mixed down the line. So my grandfathers are black and my grandmothers are white. So I'm all mixed. You know what I mean? So, but where I'm from, there isn't a whole lot of segregation. Really, people are comfortable living in you'll get black and whites all living in the same neighborhood together, and Mexicans, and Asians, they all live together in the same neighborhood, opposed to like when I would go out to the South, that's the first time I seen areas that were predominantly black or predominantly white. I never was exposed to that, because the community that I'm from has always been, well, except for in the 80s, but once the late 90s came about, it's been very integrated, a lot of mixed, like there's a bunch of people that look like me. There's a bunch of, you know, mixed race people. Like that's normal out, you know, Seattle, Tacoma, it's very normal out here. And so one plus about that is a lot of people get down with all kinds of different music, no matter what background you are. So like everybody, where I'm at, everybody loved R&B. It didn't matter what race they were. It was, you know what I mean? So, but not that that's important or anything, but yeah. But pretty much, I want to get back on topic here, because I got to get back to working on some music. I got the keyboards, I got everything set up to me. I'm in a session right now, so, but I'm about to get off and do work on this music. But let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think there could be another R&B super group, or do you think that's it? Do you think there'll never be a major R&B superstar? And they are really trying right now. They're trying to push other people. They're just not, it's just not happening in the way that it should. Like, I know they're really trying to push Tyla is the next kind of as kind of like the next Rihanna, and she's doing good, but she's not reaching that Rihanna status, right? She's not getting number one after number one. And I love Tyla. She's an amazing girl. And I think she should be on a crazy level. But my concerns is that sometimes the industry, the way that the industry is now, I don't really know if it doesn't seem like they really give people the push that they need to really succeed, right? We've been sitting on the same superstars for the last 15, 20 years. You know, if you get into the Chris Browns and the Drakes and the Beyoncés, those artists have been rocking for 20 years plus, especially when it comes to like Chris Brown. So it's high time that we see some new R&B superstars, and especially like a new R&B super group. I think, you know, all the musicians, including myself and producers and writers, really need to put our heads together and really work on something substantial. You know what I mean? Really work on something substantial, because I really feel like right now there's not a real strong push to make mega superstars. There's good music out there. If you search hard enough, you find good music, but there's not a big push behind it, right? There's not this big push to blow up the artist. Like, so now people have to blow themselves up. They have to become streamers. They have to you know, make, you know, like funny skits, and they have to do other things to get attention and just to get people to listen to their music. Like, you know, like the DDGs and the people that are top YouTube streamers, they have to get attention from other things and then bring some of that attention back to them making their music. So that's the era that we live in. So I guess that's just the way it is. But I truly do hope we see some new R&B superstars, not just the old ones. And shout out to everybody that's an icon doing it, because I love all the OGs, all, you know, and I love the people that's been doing it since the early 2000s, the Chris Browns, the Trey Songz, the Sierras, the Beyonce. But I would think that even they would agree that we should all start seeing some new R&B super groups, some new R&B stars really start to bubble, because, you know, we want to see that tradition be carried on down the line. And I know overall music is struggling as a whole with Spotify, and in the industry struggling, figuring out how to really deal with the Spotify model, and people inflating their streams and doing all kind of sketchy stuff. And the industry is really in a chokehold right now. But I do believe great music could really bring a light to some of all the madness that's been happening in the music industry. I believe the right music can always cure the whack music. I think when people put out amazing music, it can make up for some of the crappy music that's out there as well. You know, some of the AI slop or whatever they're doing now. We need real talent out there. We need real talent, real people singing, and we need to see real lives change. You know, we want real people out there getting money, not just robots. We want, you know, and the sad thing is that when AI is doing music, it's not real people that are actually getting the money. It's just going to somebody that you don't even know what they look like. It's going to a person, but you have no clue what they look like. They probably don't look like the fake image that they're putting on the screen. You know, and you know, no shade to the people doing that, but we really need, what's good, J Rail, what's good, how are you doing? We really need people that make real music, and especially for this R&B, we need people that are really passionate about R&B and are willing to go that extra mile to really blow up, you know, whether it takes, you know, going into, you know, in public and singing for people on spot. And we need to get back to that and not be shy about the craft, get back to singing for people on spot, 4-part harmony on spot from an R&B super group, you know. What's good, Jay Divine? What's good, man? Hope you are well. And I'm about to drop a sound kit too. Hopefully by next week. I wanted to let you know about that. So that will be coming out. Throwback R&B 8 is coming out hopefully this week, or next week technically. And I'm real happy with how it turned out. Adding a few more things to it, and then I'm going to launch that. Appreciate you, Jarrell. Appreciate you. But man, so that's really it. And I can't stay on here too long because I got to get back to work. I got to put the finishing touches on that R&B kit and a beat. So I was just checking in with everybody. I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody is having a great start to the new year. Again, if you appreciate what I do, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to go grab some beats at TonySwayMusic.com. You can grab some R&B loop packs or even drum kits at TonySwayMusic.com as well. And you can also drop a super chat if you appreciate this kind of content. And I really just like to just say what's up every now and then. I'm kind of more of a loner, to be honest. The older that I get, the more that I'm by myself, y'all. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, you couldn't catch me anywhere without 10, 5, 10 people and, with me. I'd travel in a pack at all times when I was young. But now as an older man, I really be by myself making music a lot, besides spending time with the wife and son. It's just really me in my headphones trying to make another hit record. You know what I mean? That's kind of what my life is all about, so yeah, exactly, Jay. I kind of miss the days of really working with people in person a lot. And maybe that's part of the reason why I want to put together an R&B super group. I really miss the camaraderie of getting together with people in the studio. I had that a lot in my early 20s. I mean, it was a blessing, you know, getting in the studio and there's, you know, 10 people in there and everybody's vibing. I miss those days. But you know, maybe I can get a piece of that back by, you know, putting together a super group or something, but we'll see. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Drop me a super chat. Go cop a beat at TonySwayMusic.com. Buy a loop pack, or y'all gonna see me on the streets saying I will produce beats for food. I'm the kind of person where music is all I do, bro. So I'm gonna live on this hill of music, and I'm being serious. So if you see me balling out buying Versace's, that's because I'm getting it. And if you see me somewhere and I don't got it, that's because it ain't popping right now. Because damn it, I spent all my money. No, I'm just, you know, no. Try to be responsible with your money, y'all. So that's rule 101. Make sure you be somewhat responsible. Not, I wouldn't say be all the way responsible, because you got to trick a little bit money. You got to trick a little bit. When that first royalty check comes in, you got to trick a little bit. And that I'm definitely guilty of that here and there. But I will live and die on this hill of music. So either you're going to see me doing well, or you're going to see me in the gutter somewhere. And that's pretty much how I live. I'm a very stubborn person, and I just do exactly what I want to do. I don't listen to anybody. I live and breathe this R&B. And when it's successful, I'm doing well. When it's not successful, that it is what it is. You'll catch me in my bands with the drum machine making beats if it comes to that. And so that's how I live. And I'm not really ashamed of it. You know, right now I'm blessed. I got the penthouse views and stuff. I had a few dope royalty checks that came in this year, and I get to live in the sky with the lake view and stuff. So that's dope. But you know, it's not always like that. Sometimes the reality is sometimes I go broke. I have years. I went broke a year and a half ago, and that was after making a good amount of money, and I went broke. But I came back up when I got a fat royalty check, and then I came back up. That's just the reality, and I'm not ashamed to say it is what it is. I kind of live life on the edge, and that's just kind of how I am. It's not for everybody, but you know what I mean? As long as it keeps paying me, I'm going to keep doing it. And even if it don't pay me, I'm probably still gonna do it. Even if it don't pay me, I'm still gonna be dropping beats because I just love doing this, you know. So that's just me. But luckily, I'm blessed. I got the fit. I got the leather $1,000 jacket, Versace. You know what I mean? Versace. You know what I mean? So you know, when I get my money, people know when I get my money, because my whole outfit starts to get a little bit flyer and stuff like that. So, but I know, who knows? I don't know why I'm like that, but I just like to, you know, when I get a little check, I like to swag out, and that's just how I am. But if you start seeing me in JCPenney, Walmart clothes, then you know I fell off. If you start seeing me in some Walmart pleather jackets, then you know I fell off. But hey, I'll be back on again. But right now I'm still on. So for a minute anyways, you know, so hopefully, I don't know about all this rises in prices though. Y'all about to have me out here on the street, man. You got, especially with the family and no, I'm just playing. So no, hopefully it never comes to that. But if it does, you'll know, because you'll see me up in that Benz making beats on the MPC, talking about to get another hit record. I'm about to get that hit. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. Don't worry about if I got a place or not. I got this MPC boy. And I'm about to put down that hit. So don't worry about me if I'm staying up in my Benz. At least it's a Benz. Hey, can't be down that bad if you're living in the Benz, right? No, I'm just playing. Well, yeah, but we'll see. Hey, I just live life I live life month by month, y'all. So I'm blessed right now. I'm blessed. The checks cleared last year for my royalties. That was a blessing. So I'm happy about that. It's always nice when those royalty checks clear. It's always nice when the sales for my website come in, and I'm able to really do this on a high level. And I pray that it continues to go that way. And if it doesn't, I'm still gonna keep putting stuff out, because nothing I tell you, nothing in this world could stop me. That's how passionate I am about this music. Nothing will stop me from doing this. I have real passion and ultimate belief in R&B music. I have ultimate belief. So whether I'm up or down, if I'm down, I will never be down for long. And if I fall off after I'm up, it'll only be for a little while because I will not stop working at what I'm doing. So, but yeah. But hey, if you see me in the Benz, if you see me living in the Benz with the drum machine, just know it's just real. And you better put some money on my damn super chats. I'm going to come upside your damn head because I'm tired of you coming up. No, I'm just playing. I'm tired of people being on in my kicking it with me and not spending a dime on your boy. Send me some damn money. Now, I like to joke around a lot, y'all. I like to joke around. So don't take me super seriously. I like to play around. But yeah, you better send me some money on my super chats, or I'm going to be out here robbing houses real quick. No, all right. So maybe it would be funny if it wasn't halfway true, but just playing, y'all. I'm just playing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I had a live about R&B. You're going to see the real R&B thug if you don't start putting some money on my books, boy. You're going to get the real Tony Sway about to come out if you don't put some money on my damn website real quick, because I'm trying to get paid, bro. I got expensive taste. I'm just playing, man. So remember, always never lose your humor. Never lose your humor in life. No, never take things too seriously. Me and my brother, we like to joke around. Like my real life brother, same mom, same dad. We're always sending funny jokes online. We like to joke around. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Dave Chappelle, and I grew up with a real famous comedian named Nate Jackson, he's blowing up right now. He was my classmate, real cool guy. And I just come from the era where we like to joke around. I'm from that early 90s, late 90s. We like to make jokes. So don't take me too serious. But just remember, if you see me up in the neighborhood, and I'm just playing. I just like to play around, y'all. So, but yeah, if you're going to see me up in the neighborhood, you're going to see a guy who's real fly and stuff with Versace, but he's breaking into houses. And I'm just playing. No, yeah, so all I got is this music, y'all. So if this music don't work out, it's time to go back to robbing. No, I'm just playing. No, I won't be doing that. So no, I'll never resort to that lifestyle. I'm a nice guy. I'm a good person, but I have to play around. I got to play around a little bit. Let me have a little bit of fun here. All I do is make beats all day. I got to have a little fun. Y'all got to start paying musicians. Stop letting this AI music get forefront. You got to start paying musicians that are really trying to do this from their heart, or we're going to go extinct and we're going to be in a bank robbing somebody. Respectfully, I'm going to be one of those guys that be like, sorry, but I have to rob you. I don't mean that. I don't mean to disrespect, but I got to take your damn money because I got to eat and I got kids. So give me your money. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm gonna be one of those nice guy robbers and stuff that's gonna be like robbing banks, but I'm gonna be a gentleman I'm gonna be the gentleman robber. Be like, yeah, I'm sorry I gotta do this, but give me your damn money. I'm just playing. It is what it is, man. So it's okay. I bet there isn't one person I know that hasn't at least thought about what it would be like to get like $1 million from a bank. We've all thought about it at least once. Be like, damn, I wish I want to just come up on like $2 million from a bank robbery. But no, I've never done it, by the way. I have family members that's done not stuff on that level, but yeah, they've done like petty robberies, but not me. I'm supposed to be the golden child. I gotta stay out of trouble. I'm not going to resort to the family business. No, I'm not. It is what it is. But just never lose your sense of humor, y'all. I know everybody feels the times upon us. I know, because ain't no damn super chat to me. Where's my super chats? I know everybody up in here struggling because ain't nobody giving me no damn super chat. So let's just be real. No, I'm just playing. No, that's not 100% true. A lot of you guys actually I've got a lot of support this week on my sound kits. A bunch of sales came with the sound kits, a bunch of sales on my beats. So I really appreciate that. So obviously that's not true. You guys support me all the time. I really do appreciate you. But I gotta joke around a little bit. So don't get your feelings hurt. I'm just joking around. But yeah, we are living in harder times, y'all. We're living in very strong economic times, and people's dollars getting squeezed to the life out of it, basically. And but I understand, you know what I mean? It's you know, that's why I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, Jay, and everybody that takes the time to really invest in what I'm doing. Because especially in these times, like people that are spending 100, 200, even 50, 30, like that means a lot to me, because I know it's not easy right now, you know what I mean, to really just drop a bunch of money on music. I mean, music is free on Spotify. So the fact that there's people spending 30, 50, 200, 300, 600, even thousands of dollars. I have people that spent over $10,000 on beats, you know what I mean? So that's a true blessing. I'm very thankful for that. And I really hope that they're able to make that money back. And that's another thing I want to mention to y'all is that, you know, if you're truly serious about your music, you know, if you have a catalog, anybody that has like a catalog that's available on Spotify, make sure you send me an email, TonySway1@gmail.com. If you are not making money off your catalog on Spotify, I can help you with that. You should be making at least couple hundred, because it's easier than you think. You just need to put your music on the right playlist to at least see some streams off there. Me personally, I'm getting about 250,000 streams a month on Spotify. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's easy, because you got to make the catalog, but it's not as hard as you think to get those kind of plays. You just got to get yourself on the right playlist. And then over time, it starts to compound, you know what I mean? So I appreciate everybody from tuning in. And if you see me at your local bank and I'm flyed up in Versace and nice clothes, but you see me robbing the bank, but I'm a gentleman about it, just know ish got real. I'm just playing. Just know ish got real. And no, just know ish got real. And your brother I had to go into a different business. I had to go into the family venture to start getting some food on the plate for my boy. You know, I had to join the family business. No, I'm just playing. But no, I don't think, you know, honestly, I don't think I could ever see myself doing that. But we don't know until ish hits the fan, right? But I don't think I could ever treat somebody that badly. I don't have it in me to really be a bad person. But let's hope that sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you don't know what's in you until life hits the fan. One thing, GTA 9, I know, right? Sometimes you don't know what's in you until life hits the fan. That's the scary thing about life, is that I know for when it comes to my dad and my grandpa, Sonny Simmons, who played famous saxophone player. Make sure you look him up. Look up Sonny Simmons, y'all. Sonny Simmons, that's my grandpa. And he's a famous bebop jazz musician. And he made my life seem easy. His life was so hard. Sonny Simmons, SonnySimmons, and that's my real last name. And my real name, y'all, is Anthony Simmons. Tony Sway is my stage name, by the way. My real name, my government name, is Anthony Simmons. You know, so my grandpa is Sonny Simmons, and he was a real good guy, real nice, but he did some crazy things because life was hard. Life was hard. He had 13 brothers in Oakland, California, 13 brothers. A Major Keys was good. Yes, sir. We're in the Anthony family, bro. We are the Anthonys. we should have a group called 3T. Well, I go by Tony for short, but 3A, like 3T, like Michael Jackson's nephews. I'll give you love, the things you want. But I would do anything for you. Yeah, y'all remember that 3T group? Y'all remember that? People used to call you TJ. That's what's up. My middle name is Michael, so I don't really have they would just call me Tony Baloney growing up. Tony Baloney, you know what I mean? So yeah, real talk. I remember I ran into this one guy when I used to work at Best Buy back in the day, and he was real cool. This guy was from Italy, and he came up to me with his cousin, and he was like, "Hey, Tony, you Italian?" And I was like, "Oh, not that I know of." He goes, "No, you Italian? I know because I have some mixed race nephews and nieces that look just like you." I go, "Maybe you're right." And damn, he was right. I looked up on my DNA and I had 1.0% Italian. So hey, I guess my name ain't Tony for no reason. So shout out to my dad he named me after a jazz drummer, Tony Williams, who's half black and half Italian. So go figure. So I guess there's some truth to that. But yeah, man. So yeah, I appreciate everybody locking in with me. And yeah, no, check out my grandpa, Sonny Simmons. But I always have a lot of respect for him. Rest in peace, Sonny Simmons. But he had, I thought my life was difficult. His life was unfathomable. He went through really hard times. Like when he was younger, my grandpa, he was born in Louisiana. And my great grandpa was a Baptist minister. And he sang, maybe that's where the vocals maybe come from or something. And this is kind of a touchy story. I don't know if I want to tell it on YouTube, but essentially his family got run out of their neighborhood by, it's a letter that begins, well, I won't say that, but they got ran out of their neighborhood by the good old boys. Well, I'll just say that because I guess my grandpa told me that his dad was an affluent Baptist minister, that he was good. He had good money. And he had a farm. He owned a farm, and it was very rare. It was very rare for Black people to, have that kind of money back in those times. And my grandpa, he was getting money. Maybe that's where I get it from. Shout out to my great grandpa. But he was getting money, and he lived in an affluent part of Sicily Island in Louisiana. And he got chased out by some, I guess the good old boys came over there with some shotties. And my grandpa hid behind a tree as a his dad hid him behind a tree as a young boy. And that experience scarred him for life. He didn't really mess with the, I'm not going to get too racial on YouTube because I got love for everybody and I don't want to offend anybody, but he had some really hard times, and it was very difficult for him. He had a lot of anger in his heart after that experience. His dad moved him and all his brothers to Oakland, California, because Oakland, California was more open to, you could move down there. It was a little bit, as far as I know, it was a little bit less racist. And those, this is back in the 50s and the 60s, y'all, like 50s. This is when things were real. People don't understand back in those times, things were real. People think it's real now, bro. If you in the era where my grandpa came from, that's when brothers were getting, I'm not going to get into that subject, but it was real. And when I think about it, I think that my grandpa retaliated by getting with a bunch of white women. I won't say much about that, but that's why I exist. But I think he one of his ways of getting back was basically getting a bunch of white women pregnant. I don't mean that in a negative way, but he had a lot of anger, you know what I mean? So I don't want to make it negative. You know what I mean? So I'm a real positive guy. I don't want to get this stream kicked off of YouTube either. You know what I mean? So I'm going to keep it PG for y'all. But basically my grandpa went through some crazy stuff as a young man. His dad moved him and all his brothers, his 13 brothers, from Sicily Island, Louisiana, and moved them to Oakland, California, where it was a little bit less racial tensions out there. Obviously there's still some, but I guess there was a little bit more, you can move a little bit more freely in California or something, like, at least that's what they thought. And so he moved him and his brothers out there, all my great uncles. And that's where he met my grandma. My grandma she's also a jazz musician. So she was a white jazz musician. She's like Norwegian and Swedish and stuff like that. And so my grandpa ended up impregnating her, and that's how my dad came about. And then obviously my dad, got with, met my mother and all that kind of stuff. But my grandpa had a real hard life. It started off difficult when he was younger. And then when he got to Oakland, that's when he started to pick up the saxophone, and he got a record deal early on when he's younger. You look up my grandpa, he was not the dude. You can go look at my grandpa. He makes me look real soft, y'all. Like my grandpa he was one of those hardcore brothers. He was not playing. I would not want to mess with him. If I didn't know him, I would not mess with him. He was like Charlie Murphy in CB4. You remember Charlie Murphy? Who remembers CB4 with Charlie Murphy? You remember Charlie Murphy's character? But except for my grandpa. Yeah, you remember Charlie Murphy's character? That was like my grandpa. You know what I mean? He was not, I remember this one time when I was a young man, when I was about 7 years old, me and my mom and my dad, they would get in a lot of arguments. And my grandpa, he happened to be down. He was visiting, and it was at my grandma's house. He took my dad and threw my dad against the wall. Like he threw him in the air like it was nothing. And my grandpa was already in his late 50s. And he took my dad like a paperweight, just went like that. And my dad was crying and like, please don't, Dad, please don't. Cause my dad was kind of like, my dad was wild, kind of a wild young man. And my parents had me when they were very young. So when I was 7 years old, my parents, they were still, 22. They were still very young. And so my dad kind of, he would get into it with my mom a lot. And I remember my grandpa, Sonny Simmons, he's not the kind of guy you would want to mess with. He just took my dad, threw him in the air with one hand and just had him like this. His feet were off the ground. It was like he was the real life Debo. So go look up Sonny Simmons. I kid you not, he was the real life Debo. I wish I was making this up, y'all. Yeah, my grandpa, he was a brilliant saxophonist, but he was a hardcore brother. You know what I mean? Like he was not the type of dude you want to mess with. Like I was always super he was a very good person, but you could not get on his bad side. He picked my dad up and his feet were dangling off the ground, y'all. This was literally, it was like a damn movie. My dad's Nike Cortezes or whatever he had on, they were dangling in the air like 3 feet off the ground, and he was crying. He was like, please, Dad, please don't hurt. Hammer, don't hurt me. He was like, please, Hammer, don't hurt me. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, he never did that for the rest of the year. He didn't cause no problems with my mom for the rest of that year. But I never forgot that. OG Sonny Simmons picked him up, threw him against the wall 3 feet in the air like it was nothing. And he was already in his late 50s. And so, but that compared to the stuff that he had to do when he was in Oakland, California. So pretty much my grandpa, and I just feel like talking about him because he's not here anymore. So I always try to give him that respect, because I would not be here if it wasn't for his sacrifices, the things that he did. You know what I mean? I always have to give him that respect. And I'm always promoting him because I would not be here if it wasn't not for his sacrifices. And you know what I mean? And he was a real strong brother. That's just the real. And so he was out there he was the oldest out of his brothers in Oakland, California. And my great grandparents, they ended up dying shortly after moving to Oakland, California. And so my grandpa, OG Sonny Simmons, he had to basically look after his brothers from the young age of like 14 and 15. He was looking after his brothers as a young teenager. So he had to become a man really fast. And that he became a man fast. So then he started having kids young as well. So I have some, I don't know how many, because like I said, Papa was a Rolling Stone. So my grandpa was a Rolling Stone. So there's kids that he probably doesn't know, but one of his first kids he had, shout out to Uncle Aaron. He had him when he was very young, a very young teenager. But, basically, so my grandpa, hit the streets with the saxophone and was on and off the streets for a large portion of his life after he lost his parents. And if anybody knows anything about Oakland, California, it's a very rough area. Spice One and people like that are from the East Bay, but a very, very rough area to make it, especially when you don't have any parents. And Sonny Simmons, somehow he survived. Yeah, Oakland is like Detroit. And I'll tell you a funny story. When I went to Oakland as a little boy, and my grandpa was meeting with his, I think one of his first baby moms, like his first baby mom. And he brought me to the house, and it was the first time I ever saw a body outlined in chalk. And I had never seen that before, not in the town that I'm from. And I was like, Grandpa, what's that? What is that? And they didn't even want to tell me. I just remember I saw it like on Steven Seagal movies, and I was like, that it can't be good. I knew it wasn't good. So I was like, why is that there? But so he was raised the majority of his life. Well, his parents passed away, so he was raising himself as a teenager in Oakland, California, after moving from Louisiana with his mom and dad. But so he had it hard from the jump, and he went in and out of prison. He ultimately, ended up taking at least one person's, let's just say that I don't think I can even say that on my channel, so I won't even say that. But basically, he went to prison for unaliving somebody. But I think it was self-defense, though. It was self-defense. So I think that's why, I don't know. Things were different back in the 60s and 70s, man. But he had a hard life, but he was a good person. But I guess the whole point of me talking about that is that sometimes you don't know who you are until you're at rock bottom. So when he was at rock bottom, it turned him into, he had to become a beast, basically. He says it in his own words in his interviews. He said when he was in Oakland, California, he said the streets made him a beast. And so I guess that's just is what it is. And but once he started getting that success, and when he started getting money from his touring and going to France and stuff, he started getting some money in his pocket, and then he didn't really have as much reason to have those kind of issues anymore. But I always try to remember him because he had a way harder life than I had. A hard life, but he had a way harder life than I did. I could imagine I don't even know what it would have been like if I lost my mom when I was 14, and then in East Oakland on top of it. Come on, like the fact that he ended up living all the way till 87. He was all about his health. He rode a bike. He was doing push-ups in his 70s still. He was doing more push-ups than me. He was like, come on, grandson. He was like, hey, now, grandson, you got to do more push-ups than that, grandson. Yeah. That's how he used to he had a real interesting accent. Like he's like, yeah, grandson, you got to do a bit more than that. Come on now. I raise you better than that. Yeah. So that's how he would talk. He had a little bit of that. Louisiana was still in there a little bit, but it had that, I don't know how to describe his accent. Yeah. Come on, grandson. Come on now, grandson. Oh, you got to do more than that. Come on. Yeah. Yeah, that's how people from the 60s and 70s, that's how they have a certain twang. Brothers from the 60s and 70s, they have a different accent, you know what I mean? So that's how he talked. And then but he made it, though. I guess the point of the story is that he made it out of super difficult times. He got his money from music. He toured Europe, and I'm really proud to that he did that. And it is what it is. But man, I got to get off the stream. It's getting late. I was on a little bit longer than I expected, but hey, I hope I made y'all laugh a little bit today. Remember, don't take me too seriously when I'm saying crazy stuff. I'm just joking around, but I'm really here just talking about, shouting out, talking about the next RnB Super Group. Who's going to be the next RnB Super Group, or will there ever be another RnB Super Group? And that was pretty much the main subject of today. will there be another R&B super group? Will there ever be another R&B megastar like a Usher, a Chris Brown, a Michael Jackson, a Bobby Brown, I'll Be Sure, anybody on those who will reach that level of megastardom in the R&B world and capture worldwide audiences? It's a real question that I have. And, it's a real question that I have, but I hope y'all had fun with me today, have had some laughs. Don't take life too seriously. Remember, no matter how hard it gets, as long as you can keep smiling and keep your sense of humor, life can never beat you. As long as you just keep your sense of humor, keep smiling, keep laughing. Like Tupac said, one of Tupac's greatest sayings is, never lose your smile. Like, smile for me. Like that song with Scarface. Smile for me. Like that song. My voice is all jacked up right now, but y'all know that song. Smile for me. Or maybe you don't. If you're too young, you might not know that song, but look up Scarface featuring Tupac, Smile for Me. That's one of my favorite records that feature Pac. It's a real powerful record lyrically. And it's important that we don't lose our smile. We don't lose our sense of humor in life, because, losing your sense of humor, losing your smile, you don't want to lose that. No matter how hard things get, never lose those parts of yourself. Always be able to smile and always be able to laugh. It's good for you. It's good for the soul. You know what I mean? It's good to laugh. So don't take me too seriously, man. I just like to joke around, but shout out to y'all for kicking it with me, and shout out to my grandpa, OG Sonny Simmons. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my pops as well, Zarek Simmons. I appreciate you. I would not be here if it wasn't for my parents. It was a crazy childhood, but I appreciate y'all both of my parents for bringing me into this world. I really do. They didn't do everything right. My dad did a lot of crazy stuff, but I still love you, pops. Shout out to mom. Love you, mom. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Make sure you show some love to your parents. They're not always going to be around. You know what I mean? And maybe everything hasn't gone right with your parents, but, appreciate them, because they got you. At least they got you here. Appreciate them. And that is what it is. I appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. And I guess y'all, if you didn't see it, if you're just tuning in, you're going to have to, I guess, watch the playback. But yeah. So I had fun with y'all today, but I got to get to this music. So God bless everyone. Hey, one thing I want to say before I leave: never lose love. Never lose the love in your heart. Never lose your love. Never lose your smile. Never lose your sense of humor. As long as you got those three things, you are prepared for life. All right. God bless y'all. Peace. This is your boy, Tony Sway. Yes, sir. Let's go. God bless. I'm out. Cleaning up, getting all the cash.